7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yo, what's Gucci, fam? This Que Bola, the podcast for creative entrepreneurs who want to understand the individuals winning in the creative industry and want to learn how to attain success in their own pursuits. My name is Darren Figueroa, and my mission is to help you, the creative entrepreneur, find a roadmap to grow and succeed in your own endeavors. We share stories, insights, and tips from established and emerging creative entrepreneurs so you can attain success in your own pursuits. In today's episode, we're diving into the vibrant world of the Miami comedy scene with the hilarious Eli Rodriguez. From a unique take on the Miami lifestyle to her journey from the corporate life to the full-time comic, Eli shares her insights on reclaiming words, the art of stand-up, and the importance of connecting with audiences. Let's get ready for a fun and candid conversation that's sure to leave you laughing. Let's get into it, right? Listo.
All up in your face.
All right, so in another episode of the Que Bola podcast, thank you so much, everybody, tuning in. I appreciate the love everybody sending me through IG and various forums. And in today's episode, we have a super funny Miami comic, hopefully soon to be nationwide, soon to be international, soon to be galactic comic.
Galactic.
The first intergalactic superstar comic, Eli Rodriguez. Thank you, Eli, for your time. I appreciate you for coming on to the podcast.
Thank you. Woo! You guys, come down. We're recording. Shh. Galactic. I like that. The first fairy god puta in Mars.
Yo, that's what's up.
They don't even know.
They don't even know what's
about that life.
coming. They don't know about that Miami life in Mars yet.
They don't Puteria in Mars. Let's go.
Oh my God, that's where it's at. Puteria in Mars. You know that like that whole entire thing about Miami and the Puteria is hilarious because it really does manifest itself in every single way, right? Like Miamians are 100% about like pachanga, about having a blast all the time. So like when you're drinking, that whole entire shit just
Puteria.
Yeah, 100%.
And Puteria doesn't just, which is what I'm trying to do with my whole like fairy god puta persona.
Yeah.
Like it really isn't just about being a whore. Like
Yeah.
it's not. I mean, there's some of that.
Yeah, it's a lot of that in Miami.
Have a little fun. You know what I'm saying? But Puteria is really to embody that pachanga life. It is a very Miami word.
It is.
Right? I feel like it's not limited to Miami because people who speak Spanish, but that's the thing, there's such a stigma with the word puta, which is what I'm trying to take away from it. Like, kind of like how women have sort of taken their power back with the word bitch.
Yeah. Have they? Yeah, I guess they have.
I mean, you can't.
Yeah, I can't.
You can't.
I can't do it.
Calm down, boo-boo. But the word puta and like puteria, I feel like it's, like we just got to reclaim it. Take back, own the
Take
puteria.
back the power.
That's right. The power of the puteria.
Don't they have that? Didn't they do that with hoe or another word? I think, what was that?
But a hoe is still a hoe.
A hoe is still a hoe.
A hoe
but a
for
puta
sure.
can change.
A puta, well, like I always say, people, like one of the things I talk about on stage is people ask me, oh, you've been married for 15 years, so you're not a puta anymore? And I'm like, of course I'm a puta.
Yeah.
But I'm a one-man puta.
Yeah, exactly. That's the way, I mean, that's how you keep a happy marriage, bro. You got to be a lady in the streets and a freak in the sheets.
Freak in the sheets.
100%. Like, everybody that I know that has had like a successful marriage to this point is basically like they're really the spouse. They're always like connecting, not only physically, but they're also connecting like emotionally. But physically is a big thing, right? Especially in Miami, because Miami is like, bro, everywhere you walk around, there's ass and titties everywhere you go. Literally, you could go to Walmart and you just like have a big old donk just come up on you. You know what I'm saying?
My man is not allowed to leave the house other than going to work. He is.
You do all the chores?
Listen, it's like you go to work, you come home to your bitches, all of us. All your bitches are home waiting for you. You don't need to go anywhere else.
It's crazy, bro. Miami is such a wild place. So tell me, you just recently did a show.
I did.
That was your first show, right?
So this was
solo.
This was the second installment of Laugh with Eli and Friends.
Oh, okay.
So it was solo, but also like I just really love creating showcases. And even though I could have made it, the Eli Rodriguez show, completely, like I could have just had maybe a host and a feature or even done like a 2-person show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I opt to make it more of a showcase to highlight some more talent. So I did one in March. This is the second one. But because, to your point, I'm trying to go international and Galactic and the whole thing, I need to be a little bit more strategic with when I perform, how much, right? If I'm headlining, if I'm just doing a spot. Because if people can see me everywhere all the time, you know what I mean? So I'm trying to spread myself out.
You're trying to, become like more scarce?
Yes.
Okay, so you feel that the scarcity of your comic, your comedy will like attract more people?
Yes. If they can see me all the time, it's like, oh, well, I'm not going to go this Saturday. I'll just go see her next week. She's at this place every Wednesday. She's at this. But here's the difference, too, that a lot of people don't understand. What I do at my own shows, right, at my solo productions, is I do a lot more time, too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
What is like a common amount of time a comic should be when you do a solo show?
I mean, it just depends on it depends on what your position is in the show. So if you're the headliner, your traditional, like, say, a comedy club show, right? You usually have a host that opens up like 10, 15 minutes. There's usually a feature act that might do 20, 25 minutes. And then a headliner will do anywhere from 45 to an hour. That's like your traditional setup. Yeah. Now, I've done the first show I think I did an hour was last October. The Improv booked me. It was like a weekend where it was Luis Diaz, Brittany Brave, myself, like the three of us were given like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, right? I think Brittany and Luis each got 2 shows, and it was also based on like how many followers. So even just the fact that I was one of the comics selected to have a weekend spot, it was Sunday, but like I don't have as many followers as these guys. You know what I mean? So I was really honored that they chose me. That show, which was in October, like 2 years ago almost, I did an hour.
How long have you been doing this now?
Since 2007.
Since 2007.
So almost 20 years.
Okay, but how long have you been doing it solo, like as your only thing, your only gig?
I've been full-time. I've been a full-time comic, and entertainer since pandemic. I used to work for the corporate world.
2000 or 19?
No, 2020.
No, 2020. I mean, yeah. So 2020. You know what's funny? I've been talking to a lot of creatives lately, and they're all telling me that basically the pandemic is what made them go full time and launch them in that career. You were just speaking about Oscar and Kat from the Ortiz family.
Yes.
They told me the same thing. They said like the pandemic is really what launched them, and they went in that direction. And yeah, I just been talking. That's been like a common thread amongst a lot of creatives where they decided, okay, it's now or never, right?
Dude, necessity is the mother of invention, right? That saying, I love the quote too. One of my favorite quotes is, without order, nothing can exist. Without chaos, nothing can evolve.
Okay.
So it's like, you could have looked at the pandemic as a time of pure chaos and panicked and, you know what I mean? And been like, what do I do? Or you're like, bro, I better buckle the fuck up because...
Yeah, you know, you never know, like some shit could just go down.
Exactly. Like a pandemic.
Yeah.
No, but it's crazy.
Like another pandemic.
It's crazy to think how 5 years ago when the pandemic did start, how we were told we were never going to be in large crowded spaces again. We're never going to be able to go to a concert. So, you know what I mean? So the second that things started to kind of like open back up and you're like, okay, there might be some normalcy coming back. That's when you're like, I have to stop comiendo mierda.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, pandemic put a lot of things into perspective. It was a weird time. I can't believe we actually lived through that. Every single time I talk about it, I'm like, yo, I can't believe that shit really happened. Like, it feels like a scene out of a movie, and now it's just like completely forgotten. Everybody's like, yeah, that was some shit we went through, but whatever, we're here now. It is, right?
Here because I live in Broward, and it's funny because I was even messaging my husband on the way. I'm like, well, cruising it through the hood to get down to downtown. I'm like, when we moved to the North Miami area during the pandemic, I mean, I hate to say it, but one of the most beautiful things was driving and there was like nobody on the street. And just like that, once shit started to open, once the influx of people, but to think that once upon a time this was like zombie land, you know what I mean? New York too, the pictures, the videos of New York empty.
That's intense. That's insane. Yeah, bro. So I'm glad that the pandemic actually made you like kick it into high gear. But when you originally started in 2007, then what were you pursuing? Was it something that you were just like, how did you originally start? What was it that pushed you?
Man, it started as a hobby, right? But it started as a hobby that I was like, right? Let me.
But where did the itch come from to
So I worked at a cruise line.
Make funny. Oh, okay.
I worked at a cruise line. Okay, well, no, first of all, I always loved comedy. Like, even just
Okay.
as a little girl growing up, I grew up watching Def Jam. Bernie Mac is like my all-time.
Bernie Mac?
Oh my God.
He's
my,
your like
my
comedy
all-time.
idol. Okay.
Like,
yeah, he was
all-time
pretty funny.
Yes.
Yeah.
You
Kings
know-
of comedy, he killed it. Yeah.
Dude, and I've actually had the pleasure and the honor of working with Guy Tori,
Oh, snap.
who I've opened for him twice now. And Guy was on the road with
Yeah.
the Kings of Comedy. So it was just wild because the first time I worked with Guy and I'm in the green room with him, I'm usually not one to like bombard these headliners like with a bunch of questions. Like, conversation happens organically,
Yeah.
right? Guy is just amazing to work with, and he's so generous with sharing knowledge and stories and information. So aproveché, and one of the questions I was like, I gotta know, like,
Yeah.
what was it like, and what were like some of the best lessons that you learned working with the Kings? So it was just such a full circle moment to think that like somebody that I grew up really like just. I don't like to, and I don't like to use the word idolizing. I was gonna say I'm like for lack of a better term, just in his craft, I definitely idolized what he was able to do, and so to work with somebody who could even just like speak firsthand on
experiences with Bernie Mac.
Oh my gosh, totally. And just I've worked with some really great headliners, and
I've noticed that in the comedy world, like you could have a super famous headliner, but like the opening acts are just like people who aren't that well known, right? And those, I've always wondered how does that dynamic work? Because obviously the headliner is somebody who's like Dave Chappelle or some shit, or come show up at the Improv, and then you're just like a comic that's striving to get known.
Who's
and
this
you're,
bitch?
Yeah, you're talking to like you're sharing. I don't feel like that there's any other space that lends itself to that. Because like in sports, it's not like, oh, you're just going to go play basketball with fucking LeBron James or whatever.
Well, in movies, it's kind of the same thing, right? You could be an extra in a background scene.
But you're an extra. You're not actually like sharing the space and the same air. Like you're sharing everything with a well-known headliner.
The intimacy.
Yeah,
no, the experience of working with somebody. But that's the process, right? That's exactly what it is. And you hope that that headliners will provide opportunities for people like myself who are not as well known, because that's the idea is I get to open for XYZ comic, right?
Yeah.
Everybody knows who they are. So a lot of times these comics will also bring their own openers, right?
Yeah.
But they'll still have the venues book, say, the host.
Okay.
Which is what happens a lot, especially during the pandemic. During the pandemic, a lot of headliners started to bring their own features, right? For a number of reasons. For safety reasons. A lot of comics now travel.
Oh, they were like traveling in their own bubbles.
It's not, you know what though? I can tell you as someone who has been on the road with another comic, I traveled with Pinky Patel.
Okay.
For like 2 years, I've been on and off the road with her. And honestly, she was the first comic that I ever even like asked to join, and she was open to me joining her. And that's just because even me, I was like, I don't know too many people that I'd want to hit the road with. You know what I mean? I'm so particular for that kind of shit.
Yeah.
Like, I'd rather just do my thing here than... I was never one of these comics that was like, oh, to make it, I'm going to have to live in my car and sleep in motels. Like, fuck that. Like, I'll figure out another way. You know what I'm saying? And I have. And it might take me a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But, like, I'm still doing it how I want to do it.
Okay. So you're telling me you started off cruise lines.
So I worked in the cruise line for like 20 years, but I wasn't a comic on the cruise lines. I worked in the office.
Okay.
I did a little bit of work
Like
on
admin.
board. I was in sales.
Okay.
I was in sales. Kill yourself. It was fucking
So
terrible.
you weren't doing the entertainment part.
No, I actually was a social host for a short contract. My story is pretty interesting, D. I have like a long track record. I started with this cruise line. I was on and off with them between 2000 and basically 2020 when I quit.
Okay.
I left and came back a couple times, always on good terms, except for this last time. That's a story for another time. Okay. So,
That's funny.
anywho. So no, one of my
Stints.
one of my stints with this cruise line, I was a social host
Okay.
for a very short period of time. So what was cool is that I did get to work on board. I was in the entertainment crew. I just wasn't a stand-up. Stuff happened with my scholarship and FIU, and short version, it was either school or finish my contract on board. And I worked with an incredible cruise director who is also a stand-up comic. His name is George Solano. I love giving him a shout out because that man really was so pivotal during that time with how he helped me. I had to basically, to terminate my contract, like, He did not give me. He knew it was for school, so they didn't give me a hard time.
Yeah.
He actually made it so that I was on a ship in San Juan, Puerto Rico, and he made it so he's like, look, I'm going to transfer you to a ship in Miami, so you don't have to pay for your own flight home, because when you terminate your contract, you got to then be like,
Yeah.
You gotta
They're
pay
like,
for-
peace, you got to get home yourself.
peace, figure it the fuck out. You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying?
100.
So he booked me to work 2 weeks in Miami, so that once I was done with my 2 weeks, I was home, finished school. I thought I was going to go to law school.
Wow, from law school to stand-up
Oh,
comedy.
boo-boo, I went to FIU to be a biologist. Yo, a fucking biologist.
Yo.
Then I saw all the math that was involved, and I'm like, fuck that.
Yeah.
Forget biology.
Marine biology or like...
No, just like regular biology, bro. I wanted to be a brain surgeon. Don't ask.
Yo.
Don't ask. Anybody, don't ask. Too much math.
It's
So
funny
then
how life is.
I was like, advertising it is, communications. Perfect.
No
So
math.
no math. So no math there, just creative all the way. And then I didn't do law school. I decided, you know what? I need to move out of my house. I want to get a place. So bought a condo, went back to the workforce. I was actually a high school teacher for like 5.5 seconds.
Sheesh. Yeah, you went through a lot of iterations. So how did you get up on the stage?
So when I worked at the cruise line, I had a buddy of mine, Neri Science, who is hilarious as well. And he's on tour. He headlines all over as well. He's on ships now as well. He was the only person that I knew doing comedy at the time, like that I knew firsthand. And I remember he would walk around the office and give us his little flyers and telling us to go out and support him at his open mics. And the day that I decided I wanted to give it a shot, I was like, yo, what do I got to do?
What do you mean? Like, what do I got to do to get on the mic?
Exactly. I was like, what's the process like? How do I... And understand, this is in 2007. We didn't have as many comics. Like, we didn't have the comedy scene.
Yeah, here, down
No.
south wasn't, popping.
Like, I was one of... I mean, I don't want to sound like whatever, but I'm definitely among the handful of comics that has helped to build the scene and create the scene. There's a lot of us. I'm not the only one by any means, but there's definitely some that can tell you when there was no scene at all. You know what I mean? So Neri he actually helped me even write some of my first jokes. And I did an open mic at the original Doral Improv, Coconut Grove Improv.
Oh, I remember. I saw a lot of shows there. They used to give you free tickets on Thursday.
Where you would
All had
donate
to do
blood
was-
and you got tickets. Give us your blood. You can
Give
go
us
see
the
comedy.
blood, or they would give you tickets. You would call in, and you're like, "Do you guys have any free tickets?" And they'd be like, "Yeah, we got like 5." But they just wanted you to get the 2-drink minimum.
Well, they still,
remember
I mean,
that?
that's their business model,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, the
when
drinks.
you get the drinks, even when you get free tickets, which is kind of like, it's kind of worked out. It's there's pros and cons, because what sucks is if people get used to seeing you for free, then they're
Then
like,
they don't
want
wanna pay you.
Then they don't want to pay.
Yeah.
Right? If people only want to go to the clubs when they're offered free tickets, their favorite comedian could be coming through and they're like, oh, the tickets aren't free. Fuck that. So
That's crazy.
it's bittersweet. But then what I've also learned is that when people really want to see you and support you,
Yeah, they'll show up.
They'll show up and they'll pay. You know what I mean? This weekend, this was the first weekend you were talking about my show. And about 2 years ago, I stopped working with promotional companies to buy the room out so I can give out tickets for free. Now I'm like, I'd rather have, like this weekend, I'd rather have 80, 90 people there that all wanted to see me and pay. You know, with a few, my comps are gifts for friends and family. But it's not a free-for-all, like people just saying, okay, let me just wait for the email to come out. And I'd rather have that than have a room full of 300 people, but 250 of them didn't pay. And you know what I mean? Some of them don't want to be there. Some of them don't know that there's a 2-drink minimum. So they get free tickets and they show up and they're like, oh, what do you mean?
What do you mean I gotta buy something?
Yeah. What the fuck you mean you got to buy something? What do you think?
Everything isn't free.
Everything isn't free, bitch. You know what I'm saying? So
mean,
that's the model. They
yeah.
could give away tickets, but everybody still has that 2-drink minimum so that they can keep their lights on, right? And pay for staff and
Yeah, 100%.
So-
That's crazy. So then you got onto the mic.
Yeah.
You did the open mic, and when did you decide? Okay, I like this, and I really want to take this on.
So it's funny because my first time on the mic, which was a Miami Improv New Faces of
Okay.
comedy, which funny, now fast forward, I run that show for the Miami Improv. So
That's
like
crazy.
now I'm the showrunner and the one that like books
For the
I don't
new
book
faces.
for the new faces. Yeah. I don't book the comics. There's an email that goes out and I'm given the names of all the comics to expect, but I create the lineup, I meet with them, I tell them what to expect, on and on. My first new faces, I had so much support. I had like 110 people come out to watch me.
What?
Which is,
That's
there
crazy.
was more people there than at my fucking shows.
That's wild, dude.
Unheard of. So I love telling the story because I get off stage and the man, which I had a really decent 5-minute set. Truth be told, I have 100+ people there. I could have just stood up there sacándome los mocos and farting and they would have been laughing.
Yeah.
With that kind of support, you better fucking crush, right? Yo, I got off that stage, I'm like, this is bullshit. I'm like, comedy is easy.
Yeah, you already thought it was
my head barely fit in that room.
Yeah.
I was like, this is papita. The manager comes out to me at the time. He's like, I don't know what the fuck you're doing with your life, but like, whatever it is, you need to quit. You need to do this forever. And I'm like, yeah, bitches, you heard that. Fuck you. What's up? So he booked me right then and there. This is unheard of. My first time doing stand-up, he booked me for a paid spot with Que Bola, Angel Salazar.
Oh, shit.
Right? Angel Salazar, a few months later, had like a variety show. So it was like live sketch comedy, dances, right? And then he wanted like 3 or 4 comics in between. And they're like, we want you to come back and we want you to close. I'm like, I'm headlining my second. That's insane.
Yeah.
Now I know that it's because I brought so many people. They're just like, bro, let's book this bitch and see if she'll bring more people to the show.
Yeah.
Right? Second time on stage, fewer people came. Still a nice little turnout, maybe 40, 50. I ate all the dicks on that stage.
Bombed.
Oh, fucking terrible. Because I decided to write all new jokes because comedy was so easy.
Yeah.
I didn't get on stage for like 6 months. I cried like a little bitch. After that time, I cried. 6 months later, I got back on stage, and I've taken like little hiatuses here and there, and because of work and whatever. But I have been on stage ever since, and it was during the pandemic. Yeah, I worked for a cruise line during the pandemic. March of 2020, right, is when the pandemic hit.
Yeah, when everything shut down.
When everything shut down, and I'm working for a cruise line, and I'm in sales. I was losing my marble. Yo, I called out. I ran out of sick time and vacation time working from home by June.
Yeah.
I was like, well, guess this is it then.
I don't got a job.
So, since then, it was figured out. So I've been doing comedy full-time since then. I mean, I find other ways to supplement my income. You know, I try to do things that are as much in the entertainment realm as possible to not go back to like an office job and get stuck in
or
that.
anything like that, sales or anything like that.
No, dude, because you go back to that, it's so easy to get stuck in that.
Yeah, it gets suckered back in. Yeah, it sucks you back in because it's like it's not a time waster, but it does consume a lot of your time where you could be spending, building this career that you wanna succeed at.
If it's not helping you, it's like if it's not going to be something that can help me, like what I do during the day is I work for a company hosting virtual gigs, but they're game shows. I'm an independent contractor. I provide them my schedule and they give me gigs based on when I'm available and what their needs are, right? So I'm entertaining people during the day. You know what I mean? And from home, it's great. So
that's what's up. So you've been performing since 2007.
Yes.
What's been your favorite stage to jump on?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I am biased to the South Florida Improvs. Miami Improv, just number one, just because they're my home.
Okay.
But honestly, even
which one? The Doral?
That's the one in Doral. They moved from the Grove. They moved to Doral, right?
Okay, that's the Miami Improv.
That's the Miami. It's always been the Miami Improv. They've just been in different
locations.
Different locations, right?
Okay.
But they're technically called the Miami Improv no matter where they are.
All right.
Okay. And then the Dania Improv, now back to being the Fort Lauderdale Improv. Do you remember when the Fort Lauderdale Improv was at the Hard Rock before the guitar came up?
Yeah.
Okay, so they closed the Fort Lauderdale Improv, right, when the guitar came up. And I think that was like in 2000, because I used to do big fundraisers there every year, okay, before they closed. For the cruise line. That's how I kind of kept my finger on the pulse.
So you already had like a rapport with the people.
But I had a rapport with them as a producer and booker, right?
Not as an entertainer.
Like I would perform, but they knew me more as that chick who booked the fundraiser every year. They weren't necessarily looking at me as like,
book her for
I was new.
show.
Yeah. So did that for a while. When they closed the Fort Lauderdale Improv, like 2 years later, the Miami Improv opened in Doral. And then in 2022, they reopened in Dania, and they called it the Dania Improv. And now, like 2 or 3 months ago, they've rebranded
To
back.
Fort Lauderdale?
Right. It's still in the same location in Dania Point. So
Is it like owned by the same people?
same people.
Like, no, I'm saying like Miami and Fort Lauderdale?
Yes.
So
Same
it's like a mafia.
So
You
total
gotta get
mafia.
plugged in.
You better get in on that mafia, son. No, but they're great. It's the same brand partners, same managing partners. Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and then West Palm.
Has an improv too?
West Palm has an improv, which I don't remember when they first opened, but they closed like a year or two ago, and they're in the process of rebuilding.
Reopening.
So they should be opening. I don't know if they're opening up end of this year.
So improvs basically are your favorite stages.
I mean, here's the thing. I started with Miami, and then what's nice is that now I live like, I could spit and hit Fort Lauderdale Improv. Like, I'm so, and so I perform there all the time, too. So, it's kind of like, but Miami was first, right? And then I also have a monthly show that I do right next to the Fort Lauderdale Improv at 14 North Dania. It was like a weekly Monday show for 2 years. And then in March of this year, after we hit 2 years, we pivoted to monthly.
What's been the strangest stage you've played?
Fuck.
Because I know like comedy, they put it up anywhere. It could be like any space as long as you have a mic and an amplifier.
We'll perform in a dumpster if you put us.
Facts.
As long as
I know that shit.
As long as we got a mic and people to listen to our bullshit. Well, what's funny is that my homegirl used to own a cat cafe down the street from here.
Cat cafe.
It was called the Cat's Meow. And so I produced shows there for about a year with her.
And like cats around?
Bro, it was so fun.
With cats?
Yeah, I mean, I selfishly did it just because I wanted to be around the cats. We would perform inside the actual little lounge space where the cats were, because there was a little like cafe with like cold coffees and pastries, right? And then the actual lounge where the cats, they were adoptable cats.
Oh, okay.
So you would go there.
And like pet the cats and purr and shit.
Exactly. You could pay to just like go and hang out with the cats, or if you wanted to adopt one, that was a good way to like meet. They were all vetted through the shelter.
That's crazy.
And so we did shows inside the little.
You know, I like cats, but I always want to like pet stray cats, but I'm like, bro, I wonder what the fuck this cat got.
You gotta be careful with the strays.
100%, you gotta be careful with strays, and you be seeing they skin and they all bumpy and shit. Like,
Yo, stray puss.
I ain't paying any.
Stray puss.
Yes.
You gotta be careful with stray puss, no matter
100%.
which one we're talking about.
I agree with you. That's crazy, dude. No, but yeah, fucking, that's a wild ass stage to play with cats all around you.
And I don't even know if that's so wild. That's just the first one that came to mind that's like out of the box. But then it's funny because have you heard of Don't Tell Comedy?
I think so, yeah. They're like on Core Way, right?
Well, no, I think you're thinking of Just the Funny.
Oh, Just the Funny, yeah. That's on Core Way.
Just the Funny is on Coral Way. That's another fun little
But that's like
theater.
that's improv.
They do both. They do both. They do
okay,
improv, and then there's a few comics who produce actual stand-up shows. But Don't Tell Comedy they're a national brand, and they produce secret comedy shows.
Okay,
So
that's
like
cool.
if you look up Don't Tell Comedy, then there's also Don't Tell Comedy South Florida, which is like where they'll post about all the shows happening.
But what's the point of doing a secret show? Isn't the point like to try to get more people out?
Dude, you'd be surprised. So here's how they do it. Their marketing is genius.
Okay.
These shows are usually pretty packed, right? So people sign up for the mailing list.
Okay.
And then you're given an area of where the show's going to be. So you know that the show's happening in South
But do you
Miami.
know who the headliners are?
No, that's what I was about to say.
Oh.
All you know is area. So the allure of it is not knowing where it's going to be, not knowing who's going to be on the show, right? And
You really got to be a comedy fan.
so you really got to be, but they're usually really good shows. Like that's kind of what they pride themselves in, is that it's either going to be like some of the strongest comics that you see performing locally, and sometimes there's a lot of like out of town people that'll come in, headliners that'll pop in. So, I mean, the South Florida Don't Tell shows are really some of my favorites to do as well. And those, going back to your point of like location, they're anywhere. They can be anywhere. We've performed at barbershops, at shoe stores, at gyms.
At a Crema Mimo coming
At a
near
Cremo Mimo. Bueno, I don't know about Don't Tell, but I know about Laugh with Eli maybe doing some shows down here. All right, Don't Tell.
But damn, that's wild. That's a dope ass concept.
This would be a great space. I told you first. As soon as I walked in, I'm like, yo, when's the comedy show in this bitch?
When is Laugh with Ellie doing Crema?
What are we even doing here? Of course,
We're gonna do it. It's gonna pop off.
Crema, creamy comedy. That's weird. Okay.
Oh my god, that sounds
weird.
porny.
That sounds super porny. We're gonna revisit the name. I don't know about that.
Creamy comedy.
crema y comedia.
Yeah, maybe, bro. I don't know about no creamy comedy, dog. That's the next
That sounds
level.
nasty. That doesn't
It
even.
does.
That sounds like, oh,
It does sound
sounds
nasty.
raunchy.
So, like, what type of, how would you describe your comedy?
God.
And, like, how did you get there? Because, right, you started off, right, somebody helped you writing your jokes and things like that. So, like, there's no comedy university, right? It's just like you just working it out till you get in a groove and you know your style.
Yeah.
So what would your style be? And yeah, what was the journey getting to it?
I mean, that's one of the things with comedy that you hear a lot about is like finding your voice, right? And the more you do this, God willing, and the more honest you are about who you are and what you want on that stage, you know what I mean? That's really what it's about. Because even when I first started doing comedy, and I did have some comics help me write jokes, I still wanted the jokes to be personal about me. So like I've always done jokes about like my weight, right? Like my body, be it losing weight or gaining weight, right? I try to do jokes that are about my life while also like there's still a lot of hyperbole to what I talk about. So like you really don't know if what I'm saying is all true or part of it's true. That's the beauty of it. You know what I mean?
I always take what comics say with a grain of salt. I'm always thinking this is all fictional.
Some of it could be, you know what I mean? A lot of it is, and you never, but again, and I think most comics will agree, especially those of us that are up there sharing some truths. We're like, we don't really want you to know what's true.
This is real.
That this is real and this isn't. Like, so you have, one of the things that Guy Tori, who I mentioned earlier, that he says that he learned working with the Kings of Comedy was the difference between, was it the Kings of Comedy? That he said, somebody shared this with him, and right now I'm forgetting who it was, but the difference between a comic and a comedian, right? And if I recall, I smoke a lot of pot, so I forget that.
420 life.
Yeah, so I forget a lot. Yeah, that 420 life.
Hashtag pot. Hashtag old as fuck.
I know, you call me an old head for calling it pot. Or what do the kids call it?
They call it weed.
Oh, and the Zaza?
The za, the
Que
weed.
eso, the Zaza.
Or you just say 420.
Kids fucking making up words that aren't even real.
Oh, you took me to the 70s
Everybody
when you said
knows
that shit.
Everybody knows
I
pot.
felt like an old dude with a big old mustache was gonna pop out when he said that shit. Pot.
There you go, because fucking pot's legit. Everybody knows pot. But there's comics who, what is it that he said? It's like a comic can make something. A comic says funny things where a comedian can make things funny. I think that's what he said. And meaning, let's use Seinfeld as an example, right? And the thing is that both can be just as hilarious. So Seinfeld, as an example, is an observational comic, right? But when Seinfeld gets off stage, you can watch him for an hour. You still don't really know anything about him, right? His comedy is not necessarily about him. He's just
observing what's going on in the world.
And he's making those things funny. He's saying funny things, right, about those observations. Whereas a comedian, and again, I don't even know where the fuck this definition is. I'm just differentiating between some styles here, is you can take something that's not funny, like a traumatic experience, and you make it so that it's funny, which is what so many of us try to do, right? When we talk about like topics that can be dark, but yet we find a way to, all of us find that humor in that darkness, you know? And I think that for my style, that's, the more I evolve, the more I'm just trying to find ways and topics that I can discuss on stage and make funny, utilizing the platform that I have to be impactful with my messages.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whether it's using my own experiences, somebody else's, what's happening in the world. And
What
even
would you say, like, it's dark comedy?
I've said some dark shit, but not really. I don't consider my stuff like, I don't think people go to my show and be like, oh my God, it's gonna get really dark and tense and you're gonna wanna cry. Like, I think, if anything, it's vulgar. I mean, I lean more on those.
I would say edgy.
I guess that's a word, yeah. Vulgar,
it is.
edgy.
I mean, I've seen your comedy.
I don't know, I guess when I think edgy, I don't know. Some people, when they tell me that my comedies, I'm like, I don't really do smart comedy. Maybe I'm like talking down to myself here, but
It's
like,
not smart comedy. It's not about smart comedy. It's about like, I've caught your set probably like 3 or 4 times, and every time I catch your set, I know you're gonna say some shit that is like, yo, what the fuck? Right? It's like edgy. It's like,
I definitely try to say things that I think a lot of other people don't have the guts to say.
yes. Yes, so that's what I mean. Edgy. You're like
Women in particular.
on the edge where it's like, but it's hilarious. It hits. You know, it hits and it's funny. You make the room laugh, but at the same time, I'm always expecting some like left field funny, like vulgar shit. Like some left field funny, vulgar, edgy, funny, vulgar comedy, which I like. It's like adult comedy.
Thank you. And one thing that I struggle with still, and I teeter back and forth, is there's a lot of opportunities that are missed if I don't do cleaner comedy. I've had the opportunity to work with comics that are just like, they're just not dirty comics, but I want to work with them and I can be funny without having to be so gross and vulgar. So that's been a good challenge for me. Josh Johnson is a perfect example. I opened for Josh Johnson a few months ago, earlier this year, and he is clean. And it's not even that he's clean, family friendly, kids party clean. He just doesn't really curse. If he throws out a curse word during his set, the audience is like, holy shit, because he really doesn't, right? And I respect that. I respect a comic who can murder and
without needing to curse or
without having to curse or be raunchy, right? Yeah. Whereas it's not that I necessarily feel I need to do that, but that's also just kind of like who the fuck I am.
Yeah, it's part of you. It's part of your DNA.
Exactly. So what I try to do is, it's not that I'm trying to write clean and be squeaky clean. I'm trying to take some of the premises and things that I talk about that I say in a vulgar way, and I'm like, this doesn't have to be as vulgar. Like I can do my weight loss material. I can talk about my aggressive driving. I can talk about mental health, and I don't have to curse through it. You know what I mean? I don't have to talk about. Even the word puta, I can kind of get away with a little bit because it's in Spanish.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, like American people don't know.
I can play a little bit. They don't know how dirty it actually is.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I try to find that balance, but without losing who I really am. It's like, at the end of the day, I'm like, you know what? If I'm not made for the fucking Hallmark Channel or NBC, then I guess that's just not my shtick. What I do want to do, and I'm going to throw this out there because we need to manifest, is when Steve Harvey retires, I need to take over that Family Feud show. My dream is to be like...
On Family Feud?
I love hosting game shows.
For real?
I really do. I just did at my show this weekend, I tested out a little concept for a show that I want to do for couples called Till Laughs Do Us Part.
Okay.
So kind of like what they do on the cruise ships, right? Or like the newlywed game.
Yeah.
Because there's so much stuff for singles, but I feel like there's not as many things happening for couples in comedy. So I just want to add that little element. And my shows, I try to do different things, not just your traditional stand-up. So
that's funny, man. I don't even want to talk about it, but I've been working on this one show, and I shot the first episode, right? And it has to do with it's a game show.
Okay.
And it has to do with weed. So it's like a weed game show.
What are they
no, that's why I'm like, yo,
are there
participants?
Right
it's hilarious. I'm gonna talk to you about it off stage, off mic. But yeah, I mean, so you love the game hosting aspect. Why? Because you have to work on your toes.
Man, you know what's funny is that I've always hosted so before stand-up, I've always been either a public speaker or when I was in the sorority in college, we used to host. So I hosted a Family Feud game in college for a fundraiser, right? The company I told you that I work for during the day, where I host virtual games, one of the games is a family. We don't call it Family Feud because we don't want Steve Harvey and his mustache to,
come in copyright infringement.
Cease and desist that bitch, right? So we call it something else, but it's the same Family Feud, right?
Concept.
Yeah, and I love the idea of that's where I could be funny. For Game Show Network, I could be clean. But if I could also be a game show host, and how I kind of was this Saturday, where it was hosting a game show, but still me in all my barbaridades.
Yeah.
That was fun.
What was that guy's name from Full House? That was
Bob Saget. Bob Saget?
Bob Saget.
The one who passed away.
He passed away. He was super raunchy on stage.
Oh my God. But in America's Funniest Videos?
On America's Funniest Videos, he was the cleanest dude ever. You would never think that his comedy was so fucking dirty.
So filthy.
Yeah. But it was fucking hilarious. That dude was... I think that it delivered. The delivery was a bigger impact because of his image. He has like this squeaky clean image. Even like you see this super nice white dude walk up on stage, you don't think that he's just gonna like boom go ham and
That's
la
what made it so
vulgaridad.
funny.
Yeah, that's what made it so funny.
I think if someone else would have tried to do the same material, it doesn't hit the same. It hits hard because you don't expect that to come out of him.
Out of him, exactly. Like you're like, yo, what? That's crazy. But yeah, it does put you in another like frame of thought. So when you're doing your comedy, right, and you're out there, you're on the stage, the lights are in your face. How do you engage with the audience? How do you think, like, what's your going and coming with the energies with the audience? How does that manifest?
That's such a good question. Thank you. One of the things that I definitely, for me, the energy in the room is so important, especially like when it's my show, right? When I'm opening for somebody, I'm on their show, I'm in their house. Okay. You know what I mean?
That's the way it is?
That's how I feel.
Oh,
that's my mentality, right? When I'm on stage, no matter whether it's my show or somebody else's, when I'm on stage, I feel like you're in my house. My attitude when I'm on that stage is you're in my living room. You know what I mean? How do I make everybody feel like they're included and feel like they're a part of whatever's happening in this space?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Stand-up is not always about engagement and interaction, though, right? Like, that's something that some comics choose to do through crowd work. So to your point, that either happens organically or it doesn't. Most of the time, with the people kind of like immediately in front of me, you can't help but make eye contact with those people sometimes, right? I've seen comics who can just have like a deadpan stare and glaze over everybody. I don't know how the fuck they do it. To me,
high as fuck.
To me, I try to be present. Okay. And I can tell the difference when I'm present and when I'm not. When I get off stage and I feel like I plowed through my material, if I'm just like, man, I wasn't there, I'd rather go in thinking like I'm gonna do this set and only get through half of it, but I was present. And the only reason I got through half of it is because I was riffing and it was good and people were laughing, so things took a little bit longer, you know what I mean, develop. To get through. Exactly. When people are enjoying the moment, like sometimes we have, even though Bill Cosby, I know he's not the best.
Yeah, the best example.
Yeah, okay, so he did some fucked up things, but I will say, you know, if you remove the messenger and his creepy pudding pops, Bill Cosby was the one, if I'm not mistaken, to originally say that you got to be comfortable with silence. I mean, I kind of guess now it makes sense why he would say that. Yeah. But in comedy, it also makes perfect sense. You really do. As a performer, like, the more confident you are sitting with, like, just not talking and letting people be in the moment, you know what I mean? Sometimes those laughs can linger. Sometimes when you're quiet after people lose their shit laughing, then the laughs go back because they're, like, still thinking about. So there's so many little nuances. But the general answer is, to me, that energy and that vibe is important. And I feel like that energy is very real. I try not to be one of these comics who blames the audience for a shitty set. If I had a shitty set, that's on me, not the audience. If the audience collectively is not having a good night, then I feel like as a performer, it's kind of my job to turn it around. That being said, a caveat to that is assuming everyone is in the space to watch comedy.
What do you mean by that?
So what I mean by that is, if I'm performing at a place where everybody's there to watch a comedy show and they know that they're there for comedy and they paid for comedy or they got free tickets, then I feel like there's an agreement between audience and comics of what we're all there to do. But when you do a show at a bar, that people are not there for comedy, the comedy show could be happening. And at that point, yes, they have a choice to leave or to stay, but maybe they choose to stay, but they're going to stay and, like, still not pay attention to the comedy. You know what I mean? You can't... Like
Taurus.
Like a Taurus.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't... There's people that at Taurus, it could be quiet as fuck. Everyone could be paying attention, and then there's these two cunts at the bar still, like yapping away.
Like, they don't give a fuck.
They don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I've seen that happen. And especially at Taurus.
And there's nothing that you as a performer can do...
Yeah. To be like, yo, shut the fuck up while I tell these jokes.
Exactly. Like, they may not give a fuck. And so things like that. But, like, for example, in improv. The improv, you're there for comedy.
Yeah, 100%.
You're there for comedy. At that point, if you, the audience, is being a dick, then that's on the audience. You got to get the fuck out because we're all here for this. But at a bar, that's also where, depending on what it is, right? Does the venue have your back? Does the venue announce that there's comedy? Do they separate, like, for example, when I do my show at 14 North, there's an outside area and there's an inside area. So if you don't want to listen to us mentally ill motherfuckers on stage pour our hearts
Go
out,
outside.
go outside. I mean, the speakers are still on, so you're still going to have to hear it.
Yeah, you're still going to hear this
But we're
shit.
not going to hear them.
That's funny.
Our feelings aren't going to be hurt when they're not paying attention because they outside, but we can't see them. But...
So when you're on stage and somebody's talking, that's irritating, huh?
Bro, some people are really good at like
Masking that.
Yeah, it depends on where the talking is happening. If I happen to catch what they're saying, forget it. My ADD kicks in and I'm like, fuck my set. What are you talking about? We all want to share with the rest of the class.
That's crazy. That's what I know, that people have a fear of like getting picked on at a comedy show, especially when they're doing crowd work. They don't want to be the one who gets fucking, on the hot seat.
And that's fair because crowd work is something that in the last couple of years has become a lot more popular, right? I mean, it's not brand new. There's
They've been doing it forever.
Forever. But people have, especially with social media and comics like, a Matt Rife, who have become so huge and they're fucking masters. Anybody who hates on crowd work, for the most part, the only people that I see hating on crowd work are motherfuckers who can't do it.
I remember the number one dude who used to do it, who was the king of crowd work, was D.L. Hughley. That was like his thing. Like, even on Kings of Comedy, he went in on people in the crowd. You know what I'm saying? That shit was intense.
Yeah.
So crowd work is a whole nother level of comedy. But so then how do you craft a joke? What do you do? What's your process? Do you does it naturally just come out? Obviously, I don't know. How does it work?
So, and everybody's process is different, right? What I do a lot is I rarely sit down and write a joke out from A to Z. There's some comics that can do that. They'll write like a fucking essay and then they work through it. I write premises with bullet points. Sometimes I'll think of a stupid, funny line and I'll write it down immediately. And I have a little system in my notes app where I code it so that when I need to do a search and find anything that's related to my jokes, I can find it. And then from there, it's really just trying it out on different stages. So that's where, like, seasoned comics who are working comics, right? Before I take a joke, for the most part, before I take a joke to the improv stage, right? At that point, I should already have my shit, like, ready to go, right?
Like, it's going to get a laugh. Or you think it's going to.
You think it's going to get a laugh because you've already worked it out at all these other smaller venues. Now, the other thing, and I tell this to comics too, is you also can't be afraid to take some risks with new jokes at these venues, but that also comes with experience and confidence. You don't want to open up with something brand new, right, and risk it. I would say, perfect example is this past weekend before my show, I work with Mark Vieira all the time. He's fucking amazing. And Mark Vieira has this really great showcase that he produces, mostly monthly. Sometimes he's got to take some breaks in between, but he does this all-star showcase in Dania. And the purpose of him doing that show for him and for us is so that we can all go and try some new stuff out with these great audiences, that it's not the same reception as like doing a new joke at a bar or like my vape shop show that's like maybe 20 people. You know what I mean? But even there, it's kind of like I open up my set with something that works. I sprinkle in new shit in the middle, and then I'll close with something that works. That's kind of been a format that like works.
Yeah.
You put the new shit in the middle. You open them up with stuff that like has traditionally worked, so they're already like.
So you get them laughing.
Yeah, they already trust you.
They already trust you because you got them laughing. Right. Then you throw in some new shit.
They're like, this bitch is funny. All right, let's see what else she got.
Yeah, exactly. Then that's when you try the new shit, and then it's like, okay, that kind of work. Or how do you know how to tweak a joke? Because I've seen other comics tell the same joke in different ways. And then I'll, like, for example, I'm thinking particularly of like my favorite comic, which is Dave Chappelle. So I've seen Dave Chappelle like do comedy in like small ass little centers that I'll find like on YouTube and shit. And I'm like, oh man, he told this joke on like his main Netflix comedy special, but he didn't tell it that way. He told it in another manner. So obviously he was like going through it, trying to see like which word do you go, do you break it down to that?
Totally.
To like, yeah?
It's amazing how one word, whether it's the word itself or how you deliver it, can make all
like
the
you
difference.
talk or silence.
And it's all about punching up. What you hear, when you hear comics talk about punching up their jokes, that means like you take a joke and you just keep adding funny lines to it, right? So that's where being present is so important, because I try to do material that's also like I can just have a conversation. Like when I talk about my aggressive driving, I've been very intentional about writing certain things regarding aggressive driving. But I could also just sit here and have a conversation with you about all things. And since I'm constantly just thinking of like barbaridades and funny lines, when I'm in the moment telling that joke, something may come to mind that I've never said before. That's why recording yourself is important, which I'm so bad at doing. But when you record yourself and you go back and you review, you know, like how football players, right? They review tape and they see where it's the same thing. You go back and you see, where can I tweak a word? And the best comedy is all about trimming the fat. How can you make, because it's laughs per minute, right? So the less words I have to say to get you to laugh, the more laughs I can get in smaller increments of time.
Damn.
Right? So
I never thought about it like that.
It's really a whole fucking science. You know what I'm saying? And that's really what it boils down to. How can I make you laugh at the same joke but saying fewer words? That's
funny. Now that you said that, you know what?
And you'll pay attention to that now.
You know, without a doubt. How do you feel about like AI in comedy? Like the other day, I'm not gonna lie. The other day I was on ChatGPT, and I often say like a saying when it's hot, right? I always say like, "Oh, it's hotter than the devil's dick," and it's like it's something that I say that I picked up in college or some shit. Because it's hot as fuck out here in Miami, right? So I'm like, I want to switch it up. So I was like, you know what? ChatGPT this shit.
What's hotter than a devil's dick? Hey, yo, chat.
What is 100? I'm sorry that I'm wasting AI tokens on this shit, by the way. But
hold on, do you have like the plus version, or
no,
are you rocking with the
regular
free? Okay, so when it runs out, you're like, fuck, I gotta wait 8 more hours. Bro.
I'm over here wasting fucking tokens on what's hotter than the devil's dick.
That's hilarious.
But like it came, I gave it that, and I was like, give me like another 15 of these that might be funny for me to say in certain situations. And out of the 15, maybe like 4 were actually hella della funny.
Yeah.
I was like, yo, what the fuck? How is this AI perceive comedy? How does it know what will be? What type of, like, what things will hit? How do you feel that game is switching up comedy?
We need another hour just to talk about AI. I have very strong feelings about AI. First of all, I'm a huge supporter of AI and tech. We are, in our home, we're a tech house.
Okay.
My husband's in tech. Like, we love and support tech. I think it's all about how you use the tech. I think AI, ChatGPT, Grok, Claude, all these different language models that are available.
Well, those are just interfaces.
Yes, but they're all programmed to do different things.
Yeah, exactly.
So how you use them varies, right?
Exactly.
I love coming up with creative prompts for AI, but talking about it on the comedy scale, right? Because we could talk about AI in general and then talking about it in terms of comedy. So one thing I will say is I can see where people can get very comfortable turning to AI to write everything. Because I myself have used chat to help me refine an email, or I use it mostly.
Tedious shit.
Yeah, and I use it mostly to help me come up with creative like titles and things like that. I don't have it help me write jokes. You know what I mean? And there's one time that I gave it a prompt and I was like, yo, this shit sucks. I'm not doing this. Like, I almost just got annoyed with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But to your point, how does it know? It's designed to answer you based on what you've fed it before as well. So remember, like ChatGPT is designed to just retain your previous at least as the model keeps getting better, right? It retains, like, the memory, knows what you've talked about before. So it's also like kind of giving you answers based on what it assumes your personality is, what it assumes you'd find funny, based on how it's analyzing your previous
But do you feel it's gonna fuck up the comedy game?
Man, I feel like anything else. I think there's things that AI can replace. Comedy, the arts, is one of those things where I'm a firm believer that people who really love and appreciate the arts will always love and appreciate the arts. And there will be a place for us, for those people. And then there's people who are always looking for shortcuts and fake shit and whatever, and it'll be its own category. As a matter of fact, I can't think of the name of the account right now, but there's a homie that I started following because he won a photography. So this is how crazy it was. He won a contest. It was a photography contest that was for AI submitted photos.
Okay.
He submitted a regular photo that he took, and his photo won. So what's funny is that it actually became like, it went viral because it was a picture of a flamingo, really beautiful.
Okay.
I shared it Miles. Fuck, I feel bad that I can't remember, but when we post the podcast, I will fucking.
You'll put it.
I'll put it. He took this beautiful picture, so he got disqualified because the contest.
Yeah, it was to make an
for
AI pic.
But even like the curator and the creator of the contest gave him his props for like submitting.
Switching it up, yeah.
Right, so they gave him and what he proved with that was there were certain things of that. I have a feeling that we don't get the whole story. I have a feeling that when he submitted, people knew that it was real, so he probably got votes for it anyway. But all that to say that when you did compare his photo to the other photos, you could see the difference. You know what I mean? The trained eye, I feel like, knows.
At the current moment, though. As it gets better, I don't know how.
But that's where I feel like they need to just differentiate. Let AI be its own thing, right? So if you want to fuck with AI art, AI comedy, AI movies, AI music, cool.
Have its own genre.
Have its own genre.
AI, whatever.
Like men and women's sports.
Yeah.
You
That's
know?
funny. Men and women's sports. So when you go up on stage, do you have a routine prior to going on?
You mean like a prepared set
Yeah.
list? Yeah, for the most part.
No, not a prepared set list. Like, do you do something? Do you like, I don't know, say a rosary? I don't know.
Oh, like what's my like how do I mentally?
Yeah, how do you get ready for your
I always
set?
do one of these.
Yeah.
Before I go on stage, you know, I
Okay.
always thank Papa Dios and talk to my dad, and I'm like, don't let me fuck this up. And we did a little group prayer on Saturday before my show with all the comics, which I've done with other headliners before, and I've kind of taken that from them because I like that.
Yeah.
And it's funny because during my prayer, which I don't usually do that out loud, I was really nervous and like I was even like, please don't let us fuck this up. God, I'm sorry for saying fuck. I'm like, whatever, you made this mouth. You know what I mean? So
That's hilarious.
different things
That's funny.
to set the tone.
So, and last question that I have for you, who's been like somebody that you shared your stage with that was like, wow, I can't believe I'm doing this? What was like that moment that you're like, holy fuck, like I'm actually here, like this is really happening?
You know, I've shared the stage with a lot of great people, but Pinky Patel, who took me on the road with her, Pinky Patel is amazing. She's a content creator turned stand-up, one of the few who has been able to sustain a career as both a stand-up and continues to be a content creator.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen her stuff. She's awesome. This Indian woman. She has a crown. She has a little microphone, and she says, "Hello, my friends." Absolutely adore her. She's a great human being. And the first time I opened for her in Dania, we totally hit it off. And then a few months later, I asked her, like, because I thought she was going on tour even more. And I was like, do you have anybody, you know, that tours with you? And she welcomed me. And she went from her first year working clubs, her second year she was doing theaters. So I got to open for her at the New Jersey Performing
Arts Theater?
At the NJ Pack.
That's what's up.
And like, I couldn't believe that I was there.
Yeah,
you
you're
know
on
what
that
I mean?
stage.
Like those theaters. When I opened for her at the Gramercy in New York.
Yeah.
Which was so fun. So those theaters too, like, that I'm just like, wow, I'm only here because I'm opening, you know, for someone else that brought me with them. So even going back to what you said, like, they don't know who the fuck I am, but you know how many followers I got and new fans I got. So that's how it works, right? It's about reaching back and bringing people with you too. You know what I mean?
That's true. So what do you have moving forward? What are your plans? What is your grand plan? What is it that you're trying to get to?
Can you follow me so I can make it already? Please, fuck. Honestly, man, every day I'm trying to figure out this social media game, you know, and that's been a struggle because I can come up with ideas for sketches and whatnot, but I'm just like, is this what I gotta do? Like, I just want to do my fucking stand up, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like everybody's like that. Like DJs just want to DJ, and like music producers just want to music produce. But unfortunately, you gotta create. You gotta be a content creator.
You gotta
on
go
top
out there
of
and
that.
act the fucking fool and do these little fucking
You gotta do a
skits, un
TikTok
payaso. Exactly. I gotta fucking go dance like an idiot and do, which whatever, man. When in Rome, you know, I will tell
When
you
in Rome,
though,
dance like an idiot.
dance like a fucking moron. I will tell you though that I am always trying to figure out other things and ways to sustain myself outside of anything that requires me to rely on social media. Because if there's anything that we've learned is if they take that shit away from you tomorrow. I got banned from Facebook once during the pandemic when I was trying to promote one of my shows. I almost had a fucking heart attack.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, how are people gonna know? And I'm like, oh no, no, no.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's a great tool, but if we only rely on it, the day that they decide hasta aquí llegamos,
Yeah, you gotta have other avenues to reach your audience.
totally. Well, I mean, my future plans are hopefully the Game Show Network will realize one day that I am the best thing that could ever happen to them.
That's what's up. Eli Rodriguez, Cuban American, a game show host
Extraordinary.
extraordinaire. That's what's up. That's what's up, man. Thank you, Eli, for sharing your time with me and like giving me the insights on comedy. It was a really dope, insightful talk. What are your handles for everybody to follow you?
Yes,
You trying to get you asking for that follow? You see, you gotta give them the
Bro,
handles.
thank you. Yes. See, I'm the worst at that too. Like, I'll perform and then I forget to promote my own shows. So first of all, I am known as South Florida's Fairy Godputa.
Okay.
All right. But I have a Fairy Godputa handle that I'm gonna do more with eventually. This is her.
Okay.
But at Laugh with Ellie. And I'm at Laugh with Ellie everywhere. Laugh with Eli. It's short for Elizabeth. It's not Eli, you fuckers. Laugh with Ellie.
At Laugh with Ellie.
I'm mostly active on Instagram. I have some stuff on TikTok. I know I gotta.
Yeah, bro, it's crazy. Now it's like all these platforms, and like a new one comes out. Like Instagram brought out Threads, and I'm like, yo, what the fuck?
What the fuck?
It's been like trying to push that Threads on me. I'm like, I'm not downloading this shit,
I know.
bro.
It's
So
there,
what
though.
am I gonna follow there, bro? There's nothing. If it's not on IG and on TikTok, I'm not gonna look at it, bro. I'm sorry, dog. It's too much. Maybe YouTube Shorts. You know, I found
YouTube is where it's at. I really
do
gotta-
love me some YouTube. I ain't gonna front.
And that's the OG, one of the OGs.
Yeah,
too.
it is one of the OGs. I feel like YouTube is the one that's gonna win out because like you can find everything you want on
And
that.
it's the most profitable,
Yeah.
from what I hear.
Oh, I don't know about that because I ain't made no money off this motherfucker yet. Like
You're
everybody
like, what's
knows.
zero? Okay, well, this one gives me 0, and this other one gives me more zeros.
I need to get my followers up too. Yo, follow and subscribe to the podcast.
Que Bola podcast.
Que Bola
By the way,
podcast.
we got to do, so I had a Que Bola show. Before I did Laugh with Ellie and Friends,
Okay.
I was doing a Que Bola comedy show.
All right.
Which was centered around Cuban Americans.
All right.
Like to showcase Cuban Americans.
I'm actually Colombian, but yeah.
But we can have some friends. We're open to bringing on some friends. But maybe we do a little collab with the
Let's
Que
do
Bola
it,
show
bro.
and the Que Bola pod.
I'm down.
Right here at Crema.
Que Bola show, Que Bola podcast, Laugh with Ellie, all of that. You know, I'm down to mix it up here at Crema Mimo. You know, I gotta say the Mimo part because
Mima, Crema Mimo.
Yeah, because there's plenty of cremas, but mine's is Crema Mimo. So
You got to come to the one in Mimo, which Mimo stands for.
Mediterranean. I don't even know, bro. To be honest with you,
It stands for Mimo. No, Miami Modern. Isn't that Mimo?
Miami Modern?
For the Miami Modern.
I don't know. They decided to rename it.
The Miami Mahone.
Yeah,
What is it?
Yeah, I don't know. It's right
Mimo.
here in Morningside, dog. It's
There you
like
go.
literally Biscayne and 57.
There you go.
But yeah, thank you, Ellie, for
Thank
sharing
you.
your time with me. And yeah, you have any shows coming up?
So every Wednesday, I have a show at a fun little spot called the Vape Queen, which is
Okay.
in Broward, off Sterling and University. The first Monday of every month, I have a show in 14 North Dania.
Okay.
But the one that I want to shout out, if this comes out hopefully Tuesday, August 19th, I'm starting a new show. We don't know if it's going to be every Tuesday yet or if it's going to be monthly, but really excited about this first one coming out Tuesday, August 19th at Boss Tapas Burgers and Brews.
Where's that?
It's in Palm Springs North, another Hialeah con Cobata
The
area.
fuck is that?
It's off of 75 in Miami
Is
Gardens.
it Hialeah?
It's Hialeah, bro.
Okay.
It's Hialeah con Cobata. It's Hialeah with a bow tie.
Just say Hialeah,
But
bro.
it's not like Hialeah. Like, it's not East Hialeah.
Like, you're not going to get stabbed and shit?
No, it's West Hialeah. They don't stab there. They stab in East Hialeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Boss Tapas Burgers and Brews, August 19, producing the first one there. Luis Diaz will be headlining. I have another great cast of comics that are joining us, so...
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
All right, for sure.
No stabbing at the show.
No stabbing at that show. No. It's in the West Side. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I appreciate it.
Thank you guys for coming out and watching.
100%. And like I always say, please share, subscribe. If you like the show, share it with your friends. And if you hate the show, share it with your enemies.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I mean, just kidding. Yeah.
Go fuck yourself.
Go fuck your... That's a better closer. Okay, you do. You got this.
Share it with your enemies. If you hate it, share it with your enemies. But just share this motherfucker, all right? Hasta la próxima. We out this month. Peace. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Que Bola podcast. We hope you enjoyed our chat with Eli Rodriguez as much as we did. If you loved the episode, don't forget to subscribe and share it with your friends. If you hated it, don't forget to subscribe and share it to your enemies. Stay connected with us on social for more updates. And remember, keep embracing that Miami spirit wherever you are. Until the next time, keep laughing and living to the fullest. Ya tú sabes que te crezca. I love you guys. Hasta la próxima. Peace.